What's going on, people? Hope you're all doing well. We have a bit of a different video today, and this is not intended to be a drama video, a beef video, anything like that. That's the full disclaimer before we get into this, because I know YouTube can become very like this, where one person makes a video, someone else kind of reacts to it or watches it or has some feedback on it or just makes a video on it, which is what reacting is. I've just said the same thing twice in a different way. But these things can get blown out of proportion by other people interpreting them in different ways. So I'm just going to say, disclaimer off the rip, I really, really like Tank. Tank has been on our podcast that we do, the Metal Roundup podcast, with myself, Metal Burb, Steve OG, who, of course, the elephant in the room is that we are all React channels. And the title of Tank's video is The Big Lie That Music Reactors Keep Pushing on You. Now, obviously, I read the title and I know instantly where this is going just off of the title alone. And then the thumbnail, what does the thumbnail say again? Let me confirm this phrase real quick. The thumbnail is, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. The thumbnail is, I don't make money from reactions, and I'm Tank doing it, essentially a crybaby face. Okay, right. So as you can see, obviously, as someone who does make a living and their full-time job is essentially a YouTube channel that is based on reaction videos in the metal space, predominantly 99% metal music. I feel like, you know, this is something that people will probably think of. My name might be in the conversation at some point. I know it sounds so arrogant, doesn't it? It really does. It really does. But I am one of a few people, I guess, in the rock and metal space that literally makes enough monthly to be able to sustain a living where I can do this full time, which, by the way, is the best thing ever. Like, it's the fucking sick. Like, if you would have said this to me at any point in my life, like when I started doing YouTube, that I'd be a full-time YouTuber, and it's a mad, like, I'm so grateful for being able to do this as a full-time job. But you can see why the title and the thumbnail instantly is kind of like, okay, right, what's Tank got to say here? Now, I knew in the back of my mind what this was roughly going to be about, all right? But I have some thoughts on what he has to say. And this is more like open for interpretation. I would love to get some feedback on this. But I do think Tank's opinions on this are a little bit, I'm not going to say wrong, because I think his head is in the right place. I'm all for people being very transparent with their audience, but I do think Tank kind of makes some points that are a little bit, maybe from the perspective of someone who is in a much different situation to a lot of maybe smaller channels, where he's pulling in significant views on each video and making very good money from the stuff that he showed in his video. This isn't me like digging into Tank's background and being like, you know, oh, he's made this much money off of this, I know what he gets off this. I don't know anything about Tank other than the money he's showed us in his video. And the money he's making off of some of these reacts is insane. So I want to kind of rebuttal Tank slightly. And again, open to anyone critiquing me and my feedback from the video. I'm, again, just completely open to conversation. I think this is more of an interesting conversation because Tank is kind of saying that, you know, people don't really show earnings and stuff like that, which I've actually done a video on this back in 2023 or 2024. It was like maybe like a year or 2 years ago, where I actually showed all of the earnings that I've made from YouTube, and people were like shocked by how little money it was actually making. And yeah, I actually planned on doing one at the end of the year as well, but I guess maybe we could do it in this video. Maybe I'll show it at the end just to kind of give you some more context to what I'm going to get into. But I think a good place to start is go onto the video that Tank made and basically go through what he has to say, and then I'll just give more context from the position of someone who's doing this full time as like a React channel. I know Tank also does reaction videos. He's not like a React channel anymore. He's kind of like a music news source, I would say, but also does a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which is very informative. Like, Tank's a great YouTuber. Again, this is not beef. This is not beef. You know, I don't like beef. I don't like being there, but I like entertainment and I like being able to give more context, because I actually do really enjoy Tank's content. And I think he does a great job at giving people information that maybe aren't in the loop with certain things, such as like behind the scenes, what goes on in tour managing. And I feel like I'm a good person to speak on making money from reactions, because it's literally my job. So I feel like I'm the candidate, or one of the few people that can really talk about this and give legitimate answers to what Tank is saying. So that is a lot of yapping. I literally yap for a living. Like that's essentially what I do. This is why it's the fucking sickest job ever. Like I've just yapped for 5 minutes and we haven't even started Tank's video. Let's listen to Tank's video and we'll go through it and talk about certain points that I agree with, disagree with. Let's go. So we're over on Tank's channel and he does like 15 minutes or so of kind of not irrelevant. The video is still very informative up until this point. But in terms of the actual title, he's kind of providing context up until that 15-minute mark, and then he gets into the title of the video and the thumbnail, which is obviously specifically about the reaction section. He first touches on the Rick Beato situation, which is kind of a whole different thing that we can get into. Maybe that's a separate video that I can maybe offer some more insight into, just because I've been dealing with copyright issues for years now at this point. Now it's only over the past like year maybe that I've kind of started to push back a little bit against some of the copyright, like Tank goes on to explain, which we'll get into. But for the first 15 minutes or so, Tank is kind of giving context, which leads up to this point where he's talking about Rick Beato, that whole situation. Then he's talking about how you can navigate the copyright world, which is maybe like, it's kind of a new thing that a lot of people are dealing with. Labels are kind of offering their hand to a lot of React channels, like over the past couple of years, or last couple of months to even like a year, where they're basically saying like, hey, look, here's a new song that's coming out. Want to check it out and we'll whitelist the channel. So obviously that's great because that's something that didn't exist before as far as I was concerned. I used to just take the hit on copyright claims. In the very early days of me reacting, I think the automated system wasn't as pristine and wasn't as robotic, where I could just upload videos and it would be like Metallica playing at some festival and it would just not get copyright claimed. And then the video would get like 500,000 views and I'd be able to monetize it. We can go through the analytics in a minute and I'll show you some of the money that's been made from some of these videos. I won't hold back. I'll show you everything you need to see. I mean, again, you probably won't be too surprised by the figures if you watch my video that I did previously on how much I've earned in the couple of years that I've been doing YouTube, which I think was in 2023. But the point is that Tank now gets into the kind of relevant part of the video to what I'm going to make the video about. So let's let him talk.
Uploaded on their main channel. But anyways, I just wanted to get all this out there to see what he's saying about it. But the thing I want to really focus on for the rest of this video is how other music content creators and reactors have taken this kind of narrative about how this is so unfair and have used it to their advantage to basically lie or over-exaggerate the truth to a lot of the viewers to gain sympathy or to...
Okay, right. So this is where I think Tank is stepping into kind of harsh territory. I think what he's saying is... I think it's unfair. I think what he's saying here is unfair. He's specifically saying that because reaction channels are essentially aware of the fact that a lot of their videos do get copyright claimed, they can basically use that to maybe fuel clicks or drive clicks to their Patreon page, because they can kind of make their audience feel bad for them and be like, oh, look, all of our videos get copyright claimed. Please come to my Patreon and support me. So he's kind of picking two sides here. It's either they're lying, where they're actually able to submit a copyright dispute from the reaction. So if I upload a video to X band, right? Let's say, I'm not going to name names and labels and shit. I don't want to bring like unnecessary bands or labels into it. Let's say I react to X band and I have a contact with Y label, okay? And Y label looks after X band. So I react to X band and I say, okay, normally I would not be able to monetize this because when I upload the video, the YouTube automated system copyright claims the video, and all of the money, the revenue from that video, the ads that I get on the video, goes to the copyright claimant, the owner of the legal rights of the music that you're reacting to or the video you're reacting to. So I can then, if I have a contact, which is a thing that's only been really, as far as I'm aware, a thing over the past kind of like maybe like a year and a half, a year or so, from my own experience anyway. I can't speak for anyone else, but I've seen a shift over the last kind of year and a half, which is a great shift. I'm delighted with this. I don't think this is something that people should hide behind. This is a great thing, and I think it's the industry kind of moving forward and putting a lot of value on the heads of people who do make reaction content, because as far as I'm concerned, it is free marketing. I know there's the argument of like fair use and being able to actually add additional value to a song and not just playing the song, claiming all the revenue, and then just saying, okay, next video. Because obviously that is the reason why these copyright claims exist in the first place. But it's such a gray area. It's really hard to navigate, even as someone who's been in the scene for a long time. So what Tank's saying is basically some of the channels, and again, he doesn't name any channels. I personally think he should just name channels because it kind of calls out absolutely everyone who has a React channel, which is fucking, I don't know how many thousands of people, millions, I don't know the number on it. Obviously, Tank is in the metal and rock space. That's all his videos he makes about. I know he does like general industry stuff, but he works for a metal core adjacent band. All of his videos, scroll through them, he's doing reacts to metal bands. So, and come on, he's calling out the metal space, okay? So he's saying that people are basically aware of the fact that they can take their video, react to it, send it to the label if they have a connection with the label and say, hey, can you just remove the copyright claim on this video? Which I don't think is a bad thing. I do this for a lot. Any connection I have that I can do that with, I will do, of course. I want to make money off the video. Like anyone who says they don't want to make money is just lying. So I'll send it, or in anyone's case, what Tank's saying is just anyone who has a connect will send it to the label and then get money off of that video, and then also say to their audience that all of their videos get claimed. And in that case, he's basically calling people liars because they're directing their audience to go to Patreon because their videos don't make any money. And this is where the whole conflict in my mind comes in, because I think the idea in Tank's head, he's not necessarily wrong if that's his sole argument, but I think the figures that Tank has been used to with how successful his channel is maybe skews this slightly, because I can show you my analytics and it ain't anywhere near the kind of money that Tank has pulled in from reaction videos. I can tell you right now that the money that Tank shows in his video from his Electric Callboy videos alone, just one band that he's reacted to in a couple of years, he's done loads of different videos for Electric Callboy. He's made significantly more money off of one band than I have in my entire YouTube ad revenue career, we'll call it. Okay, I use that word lightly because I sit down and listen to music for a living. It's great. So I don't think Tank is necessarily wrong. I see where he's coming from with the idea that people can exaggerate. I think it's more of an exaggeration as opposed to a lie. Because when I say, Patreon is the best way to support me because I don't make money from reactions, what I actually mean there is you don't have to take it so literally. It means that I make fucking peanuts from the ad revenue. And that's after the labels have started to work with me. Imagine before. I can show you the stats that back this up. And again, I'm not defending myself because Tank is calling me out specifically, but I am kind of standing up, I guess, for maybe channels that are my size or slightly smaller or even slightly bigger that are getting a lot less views than Tank that are doing reaction videos. We're not making a fraction of the money. I can only speak for myself, maybe people that get similar views and have connections and labels. We're not making a fraction of the money that we can make off of the community, which would be Patreon support, Twitch support through subs and donations. I think that's the main point to drive home. And that's why I wanted to make this video, is because the money that we can earn from views, from reactions, is essentially peanuts. So I get where he's coming from. And saying that it sounds like you could be lying to your audience to say that you're not making money. But if I say I don't make money off of my YouTube channel, the analytics and the ad revenue, I don't literally mean that. Of course, I make a little bit of money, but Patreon and the community support is where I make the money that I can do this as a full-time job. Let's keep talking, or keep watching. Jesus, don't do any more talking. I haven't stopped yapping.
Possibly gain subscriptions on Patreon and stuff like that, because I've been doing YouTube for 5 years now.
Okay.
And I've navigated the system, in my opinion, very well.
I agree.
I've learned how all this
I agree with Tank. I mean, he has 358,000 subscribers. I think he started off doing reactions, and obviously with his industry experience and all of the connections he'd made, and he's gone out of his way. He's been in the industry for a lot longer than I have. And, he's got a very interesting angle and a very interesting, backlog of knowledge from experiences that he's had over the years in the industry. So, he's got a lot of different avenues to kind of expand his content, and he has done that very, very well. So I agree with what he's saying. And again, this is not me beefing with Tank. give the guy his flowers. Great guy, very knowledgeable, watch his videos.
Works. And where we're at in 2025, most record labels and publishers actually are cool with reactions.
Yes, 100%. I've noticed that a lot. That's been a shift, again, only speaking from my perspective. That's been something that shifted in the past year and a half or so. I strictly recall it when I went to Sleep Token in Wembley. I think it was Sleep Token, Wembley, London, the OVO Arena, or whatever it's called. Is it the OVO Arena? I don't know. The Wembley Arena in December 2023. And up until that point, I was making literal peanuts. I mean, I'm kind of making peanuts at the moment. It's still an improvement from where I was when I made my last video, but it's still, in the grand scheme of things, like in terms of the rent price in Ireland, it is absolute peanuts. All right. It is a nice bonus on top of the money that I make from my Patreon and the people that are supporting me like through the community. But if I was just to rely solely on YouTube, I would be in the bin. Like, this wouldn't be a job. I wouldn't even be close to doing this as a full-time job. But he is right. He is right that labels are way more open to working with React channels, which I just think makes sense. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say, or like some people kind of hide behind that. It's like, oh, the label copyright removes the copyright on my video. Like, I understand why people might think that there's a conflict of interest there, where if you are reacting to a band that the label has sent you and told you that they will remove the claim on your video, I understand there's a conflict of interest there, or people might perceive that as a conflict of interest because the label are basically going to clear the claim on your video. And if you shit on the band, then it looks like, well, why the fuck are we going to give this guy? But I've not personally had any experiences. Actually, I've kind of had one where it got a bit awkward because I was kind of shitting on the band, and then I was like sending the video to them and then being like, hey, want to clear the video for me so I can make £4? You know what I mean? But because I was making so little money, it was kind of like, look, if I have to burn the relationship with the label over like £5 just to be honest with my videos, then I'll do that. I don't really mind. But in the meantime, if they want to be cool and play ball and just let us monetize the videos, even though we might be slightly negative leaning towards the song, I understand the label can cut all ties. If you want to be like, this is shit and I'm offering absolutely zero constructive feedback, then it makes sense for a label to not want to play ball. But I think the fairest way of doing it is like, as long as the person can offer constructive feedback on where the band maybe, from their opinion, could improve on something. But if you're just going to sit there and shit on the label or shit on the band and then send it to the label and expect them to like remove the claims, then it's a different ball game. But definitely there's been a big shift over the past like year and a half that I've noticed. I can't speak for everyone. Maybe people have been working with labels way before I have. I mean, Tank's talking about it for years. I've only been really kind of in cahoots with certain labels for the past like year and a half. But apparently Tank was way ahead of his fucking time, because he's talking like a couple of years, 4 or 5 years. He's saying he started his channel, and he said that even from the beginning, I believe. I don't want to misquote him. It's all in the video. I don't know exactly what he said, but it's in there somewhere. I just can't go digging for it all. Maybe he'll say it now in a moment.
Because they see it as free press for their bands.
Exactly.
Their music.
It's a win-win, essentially.
Now, there are some steps that most reactors would have to take. A lot of people mistakenly think that because I'm in the music industry,
this is where he talks about,
I have a leg up, where I've had contacts to all these labels and stuff like that, and I have a relationship where I can get it cleared, and that's actually not quite true. When I first started YouTube, I had just gotten out of the country music world, and most of the stuff we do on this channel is metal. So what I did, honestly, is I went to record labels' websites like Nuclear Blast, Century Media, Fearless, Seek and Strike, Napalm. Did I already say Napalm? Whatever. You get the idea. All these record labels. I went to their general contact on their website.
Yes, this is the thing that I've done in the past as well, when I kind of realized that other people were actually able to avail of the services of the label. I do think that this is a whole different conversation. It's like, because how does the label decide who should be getting on that whitelist, essentially? Because, you know, for example, I could come along with 10 subscribers. Again, it's not about numbers, kind of is at the end of the day, but I could come along with 10 subscribers and there's no back catalogue of what I've been saying about particular bands. I've just started my channel. 10 subscribers is a terrible example because you can't be monetized at this point. 1,010 subscribers. I've just gone over the threshold of being able to get monetized. I've just monetized my channel. I've made a couple of videos reacting to certain bands. And then all of a sudden I'm reaching out to a label and being like, hey, I'm this new channel and I want to make money off my videos. Yada, yada, yada. It's obviously at the label's discretion then to decide whether or not they whitelist that channel. I don't really know how this works, and I'd love to sit down with someone from a label at some point and see if there's like is there like a process? Is there like some secret room where there's like loads of like reaction channel names on the wall on a whiteboard, and it's like, hey, this guy's on the whitelist, this guy's on the whitelist? Because I just literally send links to labels and say, hey, can you help me out with this? And then they'll come back to me and basically let me know yes or no. And then I'll see the video gets lifted from the copyright claim or not. That's pretty much how it goes for me. What Tank is showing here is basically a smart way in terms of monetizing your channel, a business move to be like, well, I'm going to reach out and just try and develop a relationship. The worst thing they can say is no. I still want to do the videos anyway. So, you know, this is smart. And this is what I mean. Tank is a smart guy, which is why I found some of his points a little bit, specifically about the monetization and the Patreon thing. I think the rest of the video is fine. I think he does a good job of explaining himself.
And I introduced myself.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I do reactions on YouTube.
Yep.
And I would love to actually work with you guys.
Also, Tank, please don't copyright claim. Imagine Tank fucking like got a takedown claim on my video because I'm using his content. That would actually be iconic, to be fair. Please don't do it though, Tank. I've rent to pay. Okay? At least let me monetize this, Tank.
So that if you have future releases, I'll do reactions.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But the only thing I ask in return is that you clear the copyright claims on any other bands of yours that I do so that I can monetize those videos.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
9 out of 10 times, those labels have said, yes, absolutely.
And this is another thing. Obviously, Tank, I don't know what kind of numbers he had at the time when he was doing this. For the most part, I think it just comes down to trust. If a label can see you've been doing this for years and you've like put in the kind of groundwork and they've seen your face enough and they know generally that you're not a fucking unhinged maniac, which I don't know if I can speak for myself 100% for the most part. But according to a lot of the labels that I've worked with, I should be all right, I suppose. Like, I mean, I've been able to work with labels, which has been fantastic. So obviously I'm not as much of a psychopath as sometimes. This sounds so cringe. I'm like, I'm a psycho. I'm not. Okay, this is coming out completely wrong. The point is that I feel like you probably have to be in the scene for a long enough time to kind of develop a relationship where the label might take you seriously to actually kind of quote unquote work together, when in reality there's not really a metric to decide how valuable, say you get like 4,000 or 5,000 views on your video, how valuable is that to the label because they're pushing their band? Yes, they've relinquished the 5,000 views in terms of ad revenue because they're giving it to you instead, but what is the value of that marketing is essentially what's really hard to know, because how many people are coming to your video to watch the reaction to X band? Say if there's 5,000 views in the video, how many of those views are from people who don't give a fuck about you and they just want to see someone, anyone, just anything with a pulse react to X song? And how many of those people are from your existing audience that don't know about this band that are now going to find this band? So from my experience, I think that for the small amount of money that I have received from a lot of these videos that get a couple thousand views, I don't see how it's a loss for the label in any way, shape or form. Me going to them and saying, hey, let's work together. You give me €5 and I'll give your band 5,000 views. Yeah, maybe 4,000 of those views. Let's even go even higher. Let's say 4,900 of those 5,000 views on a video are only people who already were aware of the band and came to my channel because of the band, and they don't care about me. I have a pulse and I have ears and they want to see what I think. Not really about my opinion or me as a person. It's just purely about the band, existing fans of the band. Let's say there is even just 100 people from my channel that, let's say 5% of those people become, so 5% of the 100, I might expose myself for maths here, that should be 5 people, have now found a band. Remember, I'm lowballing this massively. I've gotten 5,000 views on my video. 5 of those people have now gone to the band's social and they've subscribed, or they've followed, or they're just like aware of the band now and they're going to be keeping an eye out for future releases. And I might try and find a video that's gotten 5,000 views and show you like the absolute laughable amount of money I've made from it, like £5 if I'm lucky, kind of thing. You know, it does depend on the video, which Tank gets into, like how long the video is. But it's one to think of. It's a genuinely really interesting conversation, and because it's like around money, it is a bit of a sensitive topic. I don't necessarily mind talking about the YouTube ad revenue kind of thing because it's a small portion of my salary, and it kind of just gets into that point where it's like I don't really mind telling people how much I earn, because I'm doing everything by the books anyway in terms of like accounts and shit. So I'm not like trying to hide money from anyone. I'm not trying to hide money from like the government or anything like that. But it's more just like, do I really want to just give all of that information away to like random people across the world, how much I'm earning? I will do it for my YouTube analytics just to give you an idea based on the topic. But it's definitely an interesting conversation overall. And if there's anyone from like a major label or even maybe a smaller label or a medium-sized label that would be interested in like having a specific conversation about like the behind the scenes of how they decide whether or not someone is on this like whitelist of people that should be able to, you know, get cleared on videos, then please reach out. But let's keep going.
And I've built good relationships with them over the past few years.
Yep.
As have a lot of other YouTubers.
Yep.
Because I'm a member of Discord groups where I talk to other YouTubers.
Yep.
That if somebody doesn't have a contact, they'll be like, hey, do you have a contact for Fearless Records or whatever? And we share them with each other.
Yep.
I even have a Word document on my computer of like every contact at every label that I have a good connection with.
That's a good idea. I don't have one of those, but thank you, Tank.
Then I'll share that with other reactors and content creators. So there are really good ways that you can do this kind of stuff and be able to monetize on YouTube.
Yep.
And I firmly believe and also know in most cases, a lot of these YouTubers are monetizing most of these reactions, but they're telling people they're not.
Okay, we're getting into the meat and potatoes. And I've kind of already touched on this. And I don't know. I've definitely been guilty in the past of maybe specifically saying that I don't make money from the videos. But like, I guess I can only speak for myself. It is hyperbole. There is some videos that get claimed and some videos that you can make money on. But I think it would be a little bit naive to just, when someone says they don't make any money from videos, specifically from ad revenue, to just assume that that's face value and to be like, oh, so they're lying then if you do make money. I think the point is that smaller channels, like I'm not a small channel by numbers in terms of subscribers. I don't get anywhere near the amount of views that Tank does. So obviously the statistics are going to be massively different and skewed in the favor of Tank in terms of earning a lot more from videos and views. But it's like hyperbole, you know, it's completely exaggerated, which I guess is his point, that it's like either they're lying or they're exaggerating. But when I show you the figures, which is, I'm going to get into it. I don't want to just like get to the fucking, you know, a bit of foreplay here. But when I say go and support me on Patreon or go and show me support on another platform, I mean that I'm making so little money from YouTube. Yes, I am making some money, but it's like, you know, we're not making anywhere near the amount of money that Tank has specifically made on some of his videos. And again, this sounds like I'm being like, Tank should be condemned for being good at YouTube and, you know, maximizing his earnings. No, I'm fucking envious of Tank. Like, I think this is great. It's very motivating to see how much money he's earned from his videos. But I do have to offer the other side of the thing where it's like, okay, he's specifically saying here that we are kind of exaggerating or lying. Okay, yeah, like very literally, yes, I'm lying if I say, guys, I make fuck all from YouTube. I don't make anything. Go support me on Patreon. That's the best way to do it. Okay, I'll hold my hands up. I've lied. I do make some money from YouTube ad revenue, but it is, I'd be making more money fucking collecting plastic bottles from bins and walking around and doing the recycling center thing, you know? That was a pretty harsh example, but that was actually a fucking brilliant example because I probably would monthly rack up more money on going through public bins, collecting cans and empty bottles and putting them into that recycling thing and getting 15 cents back per bottle. Like, I genuinely, if I was to like knuckle down and make that my business, I'd be raking in more money than I would be from YouTube. So that is what people are saying. Again, I know from my circle, I can't speak for everyone. I don't know who Tank is talking about here, but I know from like, say, you know, I mentioned Brev and Steve earlier with the Meta Round podcast. I'm only bringing them up because obviously Tank was on the podcast with us. And that is kind of what we mean. You know what I mean? Like, that is what I've meant in the past. I can't speak for everyone, so maybe I'll retract Brev and Steve a little bit. But that is what I wowould mean when I say something like that, okay? Let's keep going.
And every case is different. I will say, if you're doing a random ass reaction to a random ass band that you don't have a connection to, you are risking getting a copyright claim and or a strike. And you will probably get a copyright claim no matter what. But
also, for the amount of hoops you have to jump through to get the peanuts that I'm talking about when it's, you know, your video. I know you're listening to someone else's content, but when it is transformative, it is your video. There's the argument there that it's like, oh, React content is not your own content no matter what way you spin it. I hear it. You know, I'm not going to like blindly say, no, you're absolutely wrong, because some people do abuse that system as well, where it's just like, click play, sit there, and then go, okay, guys, that was it. Cheers, see you later. I've been guilty of that in the past with certain videos for sure, but I do make a conscious effort to not do that. It's very easy to do that, especially when you can just monetize a video. But I also just don't get any satisfaction in just sitting there and being like, okay, yeah, didn't really enjoy that. See you later, guys. Bye. So I've lost my train of thought on that one. That was a good point as well. Oh, sorry, the hoops that you have to go through. Yeah, like, I mean, for this few quid that you might earn here and there, I'm not saying that every video doesn't earn like a decent amount of money. Like, you could earn like a daily wage in an average job off of one video. In you know, from my perspective, if I get like decent views in a video, I could earn a daily wage. But when you factor in how fucking much effort you have to go through sometimes with, like, instead of just uploading the video, you have to upload it, put it on unlisted, send it to the label, wait for the label to get back to you. There's emails back and forth. You could be waiting like 3 days just to get your video sent off to make, in lowercase, maybe like €2, €5. Again, out on the fucking street with plastic bottles, I'll be making more money. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Every YouTuber is disputing those copyright claims and using fair use, as Rick was trying to bring up. And when you select fair use on a YouTube dispute,
this is a whole different ballgame that Tank is going into. Because this isn't even a fucking guaranteed way of getting the thing. I might have to make a whole different video. If people want to see that, let me know in the description. I could go into the kind of back end of how all this shit works. It is a ball ache. Like, Tank is kind of maybe downplaying how like easy this is. It is easy to click a few buttons and you just copy and paste the thing in, and it's whatever. But the amount of headaches I've had with this shit for a few quid is why I have to stress the like Patreon and stuff, because I want to do this and do this as a full-time job. It's the sickest job in the world. But when you have to like do all this shit for like 4 quid, and then you could just be supported by the community, which I'm so grateful for, and that is why I'm able to do this as a full-time job. And I don't want to seem as this is like, you know, coming across. I don't know how this comes across. I hope it doesn't come across badly. I really hope it doesn't. But I wanted to like offer the flip side of this, where the community support is just so big for smaller channels that aren't pulling enough views to kind of like get consistent sponsorships on videos, or pulling in consistent views to be making enough money off of ad revenue, that still want to do this as a full-time job. Like, I'm living the dream. Don't get it twisted. I love what I'm doing. It has been my every single breath, essentially, for the past like 6 or 7 years. I think I've been one of the longest standing channels in the like metal reaction scene. There's a few channels that have come before me, but I've been doing this for a long time, despite my lack of knowledge. You know, I know a lot of people wouldn't really think I've been doing it for that long, but you know, I got into it as like a complete noob in the metal scene. I'm still a fucking noob in the grand scheme of things compared to some of these fucking boomers who know everything. But I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been through a lot of ball ache with copyright claims over the years. And when, you know, you're 5-6 years deep in, and you can see the growth that is possible with your Patreon, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, hey guys, I'd love if you could support me. And it's one of those things you don't want, like, no one wants to have to continue to do it. No one wants to keep being like, oh, support on Patreon. But you've got to do it, man. I mean, when again, I'm literally, I couldn't be edging this idea of my analytics, which I will show you soon. Don't worry. I couldn't be edging it more. But when you see the analytics, I think you'll understand a little bit more why the Patreon support is so appreciated.
Reaction video is one of the choices that comes up.
Yeah.
So this is a thing now. Like, reaction videos are one of the categories you can select for arguing disputes. But going back to what I was just saying, disputing a copyright reaction does nothing to your channel. There's no harm done, even if you lose. You dispute a reaction, and what happens is it goes to the copyright owner, usually the music publisher. They then have 30 days to review your dispute and either accept it, releasing it to you so you can monetize, or they deny it, meaning they hold the copyright, they get the revenue. Or a lot of the times, most often, they just let the 30 days lapse and then it automatically goes to you. That happens all the time. So
I don't know what you've been reacting to, Tank, but that does not happen all the time. For me, again, I can't speak for anyone else. There is instances where that does happen. But if that was the case, I would definitely be a lot less stressed in my day-to-day, because a lot of the time you'll dispute it, just so that you can upload the video as soon as possible. So the video goes to in escrow. This is a whole different video that I can get into. Again, let me know in the comments if you want more of a deep dive into what all this shit means. It is quite interesting, I guess, maybe from the outside looking in. I'm so fatigued by it because I've been dealing with it for so long that I'm like, oh, this topic. But I think maybe it could make for an interesting video. So let me know. Let me know and we'll talk about it if people want to see it or hear about it. But Tank is 100% right in what he's saying for the most part. But his estimations that a lot of the videos just get cleared after 30 days is, I'm not saying he's lying, but in my experience, that's not been the case.
So I know all of these reactors and all of these people are disputing all these and sometimes just having them lapse. So it's crazy. Somebody said, what about drum guitar?
I just realized I've been watching this entire video in this box. I'm a fucking idiot. I need all the support I can get on Patreon, lads, because this is my skills as a YouTuber are clearly fucking dragging here. Not dragging like with wings, like dragging, okay? I didn't pronounce my G there. That's important. Adds more context. So let's keep going.
On YouTube. So that's a whole different thing because a lot of the times when people are doing guitar and drum covers, they don't get a copyright claim for the song, like a full-on copyright claim. They get shared revenue. That means that the algorithm has detected the musical composition being used. So the algorithm notices it's not the real song, so it's not copyright, but it is the composition, so this is probably a cover. So it's shared revenue, and it goes 50-50 to the creator and the publisher, which in my opinion is a great way to do stuff like that. I actually think you could solve a lot of this issue by anytime music is used on YouTube, kill the copyright system, unless it's blatantly the full song being re-uploaded to make money, and just 50-50 every time.
That's a very good point. That is something that I've heard argued before. Myself, Brev, and Steve have talked about this a few times where, you know, sometimes it maybe would just, because of how little you might be getting for promoting like a smaller band or like doing some kind of a video on a smaller band, because it's a smaller band, you're not going to get that many views, but you want to post it because it's a sick song or something like that, and you have to like really go out of your way to try and promote it because no one knows the name, and you have to be like, this band will blow your cock off, you know, something like that. Sometimes for the, like, you go through so much hoops just for like principle to get the video cleared for copyright, that it might take a couple of days for it to come back, and then you get like 1,000 views at most on the video, and it's just like, at that point, you'd rather just upload the video freely and get half of the revenue. The band gets like 12 cents and you get 12 cents and we just go our separate ways. But yeah, that's a good point though. That's definitely a really good point. I think that's not a bad way of looking at it. Obviously, that would currently, because I've got some connections with different labels. I've not got connections with every label. Like a lot of labels, there's still a handful of labels that don't play ball at all. But there's a bit of a trade-off sometimes. Like you might have bigger bands. Again, I'm trying not to like name specific bands or labels, but there might be like a massive label that you will get a lot of subscribers and views off it. So you have to kind of have the trade-off. Okay, I'm going to get a lot of views for this, so I'm not going to bother going out of my way and busting my balls because I know they're not going to play ball. They're not going to play, they're not going to want to get involved. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and like chase down getting this cleared for copyright. I'd rather just upload it and be able to, you know, take the hit. They get all the revenue from the video, but I might get like a couple of hundred subscribers or 1,000 subscribers and loads of views and more notoriety about my channel, which I can obviously monetize in other ways with the Patreon plugs, etc., etc. So that's a great point though. That is a great point about 50-50 down the middle. That would clear a lot of issues. But in my current situation, I think I'd actually probably lose money in now because a lot of the labels that I do work with consistently, I say work with as if there's like some corporate lingo going on. I just react to it, give my honest opinions, send it to the label and say, hey, please help me out. If not, I just take the hit. Like that's just kind of how it works, which is why I feel like just there's a vibe off the video sometimes with Tank where I feel like it's kind of like smoke and mirrors, and it's like people are working with labels behind your back and you don't know about it. It's like the labels reach out and, you know, we're doing the video anyway, and it'd be great to just react to it and be able to get a few quid off it. You know, it's not that deep. I think a lot of people think it's like a lot deeper, where I've had people comment on my videos. It's like, oh, you're in cahoots with this person and this is why you have to have a positive reaction. It's like, man, you are watching too much fucking Netflix. You know, it's not that deep. Well, let's keep going.
Reactors are pausing and talking about things and stuff like that. They're making their own content. So
I've made this 30 minutes long.
The labels will make an argument saying that the only reason people are watching that video is because they're using that specific song, which could be, I mean, actually, I know that's a thing because we know how many views certain bands will get on reaction videos when we do them.
Yep.
But yeah, I just feel like a lot of this is overblown, and to really drive.
Okay. I would argue Tank's point that all of this is overblown, him referring to the idea that reaction channels are coming out and saying that like, oh, we don't make any money, please go support on Patreon. I'd actually argue that what Tank is doing right now by making this video is more overblown than what other channels are doing. Again, I can only speak for myself, who does ask people to go to my Patreon. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, that's what Patreon is there for. It's like the same with like Ko-fi and all these other platforms that are there for like, or Buy Me a Coffee, whatever the fuck that platform's called, where like people who enjoy your content can go and support you because they know that the copyright system is a bit fucked and it doesn't really make any sense and it's not consistent. And if people want to see more content from you, sometimes that support on other platforms allows you to offset some of the like day-to-day work that you're doing like in a 9 to 5. And that's exactly, I'm the fucking living example of that. I got such amazing support over the years on Patreon and other platforms like Twitch, where people literally are directly supporting me. Forget the middleman being YouTube in this situation and relying on like an inconsistent source of revenue. I'm stuttering with ad revenue. People can just go directly to me. Obviously, Patreon takes their cut, which is another story. We can get into that at some point as well. Fucking Patreon. But I've been able to make this my job for the past 2.5 years, which is insane. Best job in the world. So I get where Tank's coming from. I do find it a little bit hard to sit back and just be like, you know, Tank is coming from a different perspective. This motherfucker's got a big audience. He's making good money. If you, look, I don't know what, from the visuals he's shown in this video, he's making good money off. If he wants to go like down the reaction route and do a lot of that, and I know he's done that before, and if he wants to go back and add a lot more reaction channels in, reaction videos in, he can make good money, man. Based on the figures he's shown me, I need to fucking move to the States or wherever the fuck Tank is from, because that CPM, brother, holy shit. Anyways, I think I've done enough yapping. I want to make sure that Tank's kind of cleared up all of his points, so I'm not like leaving anything out. But yeah, just to finish on that, again, love Tank. Really do respect the guy. I just think he's saying that everything is like blown out of proportion when no one has really brought up anything about this. He's kind of brought it up and then says it's blown out of proportion. I think him bringing it up is kind of more out of proportion or more of a big exaggeration than what people are saying and being like, you know, hey, can you please support me? I
home the point here for you guys. I'm going to do something that I think not a lot of other people have done.
This, do you know what? I need to talk about this. This is huge.
Some of the bands that I've reacted to like the most on YouTube. And I want to go through my analytics. This might take some time.
Okay, so basically, I'll skip this. I'll skip all this. But basically, Tank says that he is going to let chat like decide which, you know, bands he's reacted to in the past. First band is obviously Electric Callboy. He's tied to the band. He works for them. How much money he's made from all of the videos that he's done. And this fucking blew my mind. And this kind of made me want to make the video because now I understand why Tank is taking this stance. Because he's like, oh, look, people are making money off videos. And I'm like, yeah, but fucking hell, man.
Kind of weird.
You've got...
because I'm not going to actually show my screen. And the reason for that is because in some of these cases, I'm going to be going through like 20 videos and just adding up the revenue and then giving you a grand total. But like, I give you my word, my promise that every number.
And I'd never, look, Tank is a stand-up guy. I would never think that he's lying about this. And to be honest, if he's going to lie about it, he'd be bringing the figures down. He wouldn't be bumping these figures up because these are big figures.
It was accurate from
video. Okay, let me skip all this.
About blocking video. It'd be a fair point to bring up, again, that a lot of this was before I even started working for them or knew them or anybody at Century Media. This was from me just reaching out to Century Media and being like, hey, can we...
Which, by the way, is even more insane because his channel's only grown. So these figures are like from... They're dating past when he's actually been a bigger channel, and they're already insane figures.
We work together.
Again, the context will be important at the end of this because I'll show my figures compared to this as someone who is doing this as a full-time job in specifically the metal and rock space, which there isn't a lot of full-time content creators that are doing, specifically reaction videos. Again, I'm not trying to like involve myself in this situation, although I kind of have. But the big lie that music reactors keep pushing on you, and he's in the metal and rock space. So it's kind of like, okay, you know what I mean?
Videos for a grand total that I have made in ad revenue of 17.
First of all, what the fuck? Tank kind of frames this in a way that's kind of like, well, here's the figures, guys. I know. I really like Tank, but this kind of... I'm going off of his tone of voice here. It sounds like he's almost like, poor me.
Videos for a grand total that I have made in ad revenue of $17,142.
Ah, Jesus. Look, don't get me wrong. I understand that Tank is a bigger channel than mine and he gets a lot more views. Therefore, he should be earning more money. Oh! Oh!
If you divide that by 27 videos, that is roughly $634.89 that I have made.
This makes so much sense why he's making this video now. That is a ridiculous figure for the average of his videos of one band. I know this is the band. This makes the most sense that this would be the most, but like the other figures are fucking mental as well.
Per reaction video to Electric Callboy over the course of 5 years. So that.
Okay. I'll put it out there. He's using the 5 years to kind of like negate the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's still like, I'm getting a calculator out for this. I'm actually getting annoyed with how much money he's made off this. What the fuck? 17 grand divided by 5. That is 3,400 per year. I've been doing YouTube since 2017, I think, 18. Let me confirm. Let me confirm again. Just give me a sec. I've made this video way too long already. I'm so sorry. So sorry, but look, we're already this balls deep, so it doesn't matter. I think it said it there. Oh, listen to my cringe voice. Stop. Where is my channel? How do I get this? 2017. So I have been doing videos since 2017, and I can tell you as an absolute fact that Tank has made significantly more money off of Electric Callboy in 3 years less time than I have in my entire YouTube career off of YouTube ad revenue. So the stance that Tank is taking makes more sense, that he might be a bit annoyed by people being like, oh, I make no money off of YouTube. But again, it is hyperbole. Compared to what he is making, we essentially make nothing. It isn't literally nothing. I don't think it's like smoke and mirrors with anyone's audience trying to be like, you know, hey, we make so much money, but we're going to say that we don't and go and support on Patreon as well. Again, I can only speak for myself and maybe anyone who's earned, like, just go through my videos and see the views I get, and you can probably like match that up with other channels and kind of get a rough estimate of how much they've earned. It's not the exact same. There's no like for like comparison that you can do with this. It's a bit more tricky than that, but as a general guideline,
that right there,
I'll show you my figure
tells
soon.
Me reactors are making money to this stuff.
Yeah, they are for sure. Like no denying that. Hold my hands up. It was a general mistake. That's the bald nonce reference, if anyone doesn't know what that is. But again,
so every time I see reactors saying like, I don't make money from doing reactions.
Again, Tank, it's hyperbole. I know I'm not having this conversation with Tank. He can't respond and defend himself, which is why I'm not like attacking him, but I have to stand up for some of the smaller channels in this situation. And I'm not even a small channel. There's channels that are making infinitely less than me. I'm very grateful for the situation I'm in to make any money off this. Do it as a job? Get the fuck out of here, dude. You know, it's unbelievable. It's great. But it's a little bit insincere to take people that literally when they say, hey guys, please support me on Patreon. It comes across a little bit privileged. Just a little bit. Little bit. I like Tank. I do. Tank raids me on Twitch all the time. And I really appreciate it. Like he came on the podcast and any interactions I've had with him have been great. Great guy. I love his content. He genuinely comes across as very, very sincere. This a little bit missing the mark again. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with what I'm saying.
It's like I just immediately think they're full of shit because I react to stuff and I know how much money some people are making.
Okay, see, this is where I think you should just name drop people because it's too cryptic at this point. It's too cryptic for my liking because he's calling people out in a very general sense and then not actually saying who the people are. So it kind of like attacks everyone and makes everyone look bad. But then he's specifically referring to like, I know people that make X amount of money off of ad revenue, you know. So it's kind of like you can't really bring them up and then not name them because it just kind of paints everyone. I don't know. Look, I don't want this to become a big like pointing fingers game, but this is genuinely just conversation. I'm not trying to like be calling Tank out for this, but he's essentially calling everyone else out. So I'm just kind of fighting the corner a little bit, but it's not fighting because I don't want any fights, man. You know, I don't. Please don't make a response to me, Tank. I'll get fucking flatlined. Like, your audience is just so much bigger than mine and it's over for me if you make a response. It really is. Am I ready for the smoke? Do I upload this video? Because this could go anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my arse. I don't fucking know.
I've even talked to other YouTubers behind the scenes about how much money they've made doing this kind of stuff. A Nude Goose says,
I've never talked to Tank about this. I'm not saying he's trying to say that he talked to me, but I don't know who he has talked to. I've never spoken to Tank about this specifically.
It's like a lot, but it's over a long time. Yeah, sure. But you got to think that's just one band I've reacted to.
Okay, so he's actually kind of taken into account that there's actually a lot of money being made here. Because he's like, yeah, that is over X amount of time. 17 grand from one band. Averaging 3.5 grand a year from one band. Like that almost makes it sound like, because I do a lot more reactions than Tank would do. And because again, it's such a general statement, a blanket statement, it kind of makes it sound like, okay, well, if Drew's doing 50 bands per year and he's making X amount off of this particular thing, he must be making X amount of money. And now he's saying, oh, I make no money off of videos, go to Patreon, and it comes across as insincere, which is obviously very skewed.
There's a ton of others. During the pandemic, I was doing reaction videos 5 days a week. So at this point in the video, I'm going to go off screen and I'm going to try and pick some bands that we've said are like notorious for copyright claiming stuff and stuff like that. And I'll give you the totals.
Okay. If I get copyright claim from this, I'm going to fucking snap. Total reaction videos, 29. Like these figures are mental as well. An average of that for fucking Sabaton. Oh, the boomers are going to come for me now. Fuck. 29 videos, averaging to it. Like these are crazy figures, man. This is insane. Again, I'm not saying that like he doesn't deserve this amount of money. If you pull in them kind of views, you deserve that kind of money. But I'm very, very inspired by these numbers. Put it that way. 10 videos averaging $390, which I know obviously in euros is about 300 euros, but that's still crazy money, man, to be pulling off one video. Especially like what Tank said, like back in the pandemic, you'd be doing a video a week, 5 videos a week. Let's say he's doing an average of 300 quid. Like he's essentially kind of saying that. Like that back in the pandemic, I was doing like 3 videos a week and, you know, or 5 videos a week. And like his average here, let's take the lowest one is, I know these are bigger bands, whatever. Let's say it's 50 quid. You know, you're making like a solid income. You could nearly live off of that purely from ad revenue. And then you have your Patreon. It's like, you know, it is different worlds that people are living in to what Tank is living in from an ad revenue standpoint. And that's not, it's not his fault. Like I'm not trying to say, Tank, you are in a different world. You can't speak about this, but I think that context of what I'm talking about, where it's like, yeah, if you take it literally that people are making no money from Patreon or from YouTube, then yeah, you're obviously going to have something to say about it. But like, if you don't take it, like, I don't know, maybe he's talking about someone who's literally coming up to the camera and saying like, I'm literally going to starve if you don't support my Patreon. Then yeah, okay, it's a different story. But this is not how he's framing that. It's just like people are saying that they're not making money from YouTube. I've probably said it in the past in like passing comments, but I don't literally mean that. And I think there should be some level of like nuance to that where you can understand when someone's not being literal about not making any money. But again, don't make me use the plastic bottle reference again. I would make more money walking around the street collecting plastic bottles for a week straight than I would with uploading videos on YouTube to get ad revenue. Also, why does this the Nightwish? What the fuck? I just became German. I'm watching too much Tank videos. The Nightwish video sounds pretty good, sped up. It sounds like a fuck it. Wait, what? Was that Slaughter to Prevail or Nightwish? What? Oh, this sounds like a fucking... I'm in a pub in Ireland all of a sudden because it's 1.5 speed. Okay, yeah, so he's making crazy, like Orbiculture, he's made 12 videos, $321. That could be interesting because I've literally made videos to Orbiculture. Again, Tank is crushing me on views, so he's going to make more. It makes sense. But that's not really the point. Okay, Powerwolf. Yeah, okay. So let me just wrap this up and then I'll show you my analytics and then we can all go home and shake hands and be happy.
I'm talking about numbers. Church and chat just said they mean we're not making the money we think we should be making.
Yes! No, actually, hold on though. They mean we're not making the money we think we should be making. That kind of comes across as a dig, which is again kind of a... It's again very negatively skewed where it's like we think we're not making it, like we think we deserve more. Like, again, people in the chat are going to hear the figures that Tank's throwing out there and kind of assume that everyone's making that kind of money, which is so far from the truth, which I promise I'll show you in a moment.
Yeah, maybe. I don't necessarily think it's that. I just think that this whole copyright thing on YouTube has been such a big discussion for so long that some content creators are going overboard with it, and they're over-exaggerating it, and they're using it as a way to garner sympathy with viewers to possibly give them monetization in some other ways, like Patreon or donations for videos. Like, and I don't mean to sound hypocritical because I also have a Patreon, but that's for like early access. By those standards, I don't make a lot from Patreon. I see some other reactors that are making several $1,000s a month because they are charging for reactions, which I don't do because I make money.
Again, look, I get his point. He's trying to say like, oh, like, I have watched this video and I'll let it play because it's unfair to just say what I think about it without showing the context. But because of how this whole conversation has been framed, where it comes across as quite negative, and he's kind of like sick of people like playing the victim almost, and being very, I guess, like, oh, feel sorry for me, I'm not making any money. Again, that's just kind of a framing thing. It's kind of more semantics more than anything. But then he kind of goes on to like Patreon numbers and shit, which we can get into. I think I've had this argument before with people, and I've seen other videos where people like complain about tiers on Patreon, and they say like, oh, why is this person charge like he charges how much for a video? It's like, you're entitled to charge whatever the fuck you want for any service on this planet. It's up to the individual on the other end of this transaction to decide whether or not they want to pay you. I never really understood the like people complaining about how expensive something is. It's like, okay, it's probably a bad example, but I don't go into a guitar shop and say, you know, how much is, like, I'm just seeing all the prices on display, and then I go, do you know what? Fuck Fender, because that guitar is too expensive in my opinion, because I can get this guitar somewhere else. It's just a dead argument to me. I know Tank's not really leaning into this argument much, but I've seen that in the past, and it's a whole different conversation. But he does kind of go into another guy's tiers on his Patreon page, which are pretty pricey. But if that's what the guy's comfortable working for, then that's what the guy's comfortable working for. And again, this is where I think it comes across as like the slightest bit slightly privileged from Tank, I think, because he's obviously in a privileged position where you've seen the numbers, where he's making good money from these React videos, and the channel that he's talking about is not making near that kind of money from ad revenue. So they have to rely more if they want to do this seriously. And if they want to make it's a fucking dream job, man. Who wouldn't want to do it? Like, if it means going out of their way to like almost fucking beg for people on Patreon, then let them make a show of themselves in the process if that's what you think it will be. But I don't think it's fair to try and like bring people down for having X tiers. He doesn't really do that in this. I'll let it play and you can make up your own judgment. But I think because of how negative it's been leaning towards like people lying and shit about going to their Patreon and then like showing one guy's tiers. And he says something about this guy where it's like he was on some news show or something talking about reacting channels and like complaining about it, which I also think is nonsense. If that is the case, I don't know the context of what Tank is talking about, but if he's like, oh, reaction channels should be making more money, then just shut up as well. Not Tank, sorry, not Tank. I'm not telling Tank shut up here. I'm telling, if that is the case with the guy where he's like, oh, we deserve more money. Nah, like you deserve what you get. You know what I mean? You deserve whatever it is in ad revenue. This is why I'm like envious of Tank. I'm like, fucking hell, he deserves that money. But obviously the opposite end of the spectrum is that people are not making anywhere near the kind of money he's making. So his argument kind of is a little bit misguided.
Money from doing reactions like that. What's just kind of funny here, man? Like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like nobody wants to talk about this stuff because it involves money and nobody likes to talk about money. And it's easier to just say like, we get copyright claims so we don't make money, when that's not the entire truth. There are.
And he's right. That statement is there. So it's not the entire truth, but again, it's kind of like semantics at that point, which can be open to interpretation. But when I say I make no money from reaction videos, like I've said that in the past, I would probably normally phrase it as like I make absolute peanuts from reaction videos. I wouldn't say nothing because that is technically a lie. But again, it's never literal. Come on.
Content creators out there that are making money from doing reactions and music related content. There are exceptions, as we've talked about. There are abuses in the copyright claim system and stuff like that. But I firmly think a lot of YouTube reactors that are telling you guys they're not making money are. Ross said I've seen small channels that charge like 50 or.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to know who he's talking about. This is why it's kind of hard to really go into it because I don't know who he's actually specifically talking about. Maybe Tank can do a follow-up video and call people out. I don't know. Let's make this real juicy, Tank. Let's earn some real money. Well, okay, I'm joking. Please don't call me out. I'll get fucking flatlined. But yeah, seeing small channels that charge like 50 or 75. Again, I never get this argument. Let them charge whatever the fuck they want. Like at the end of the day, if they're a small channel, they're not going to have people that are there to pay for it because they're a small channel. Supply and demand. If someone wants to charge 50 quid and they have like fucking 4 subs, no one's going to pay for it. So let them not earn any money that way anyway. And if someone does want to pay for it, then that's great. A small channel earns 50 or 75 quid. It's a fair trade-off. Like, how is that an argument? They're charging for a service that they think is fair. It doesn't matter what you think of it. Just don't pay.
$75. Dude, there's channels that charge fucking way more than that. What's the name of that fucking guy that went on fucking TV bitching about how reactors don't make money?
Okay, so this is what he's talking about. This is what I was referring to earlier, where he says the name of the guy. He doesn't know the name of the guy. I don't know what the guy is either. I'd never heard of the channel before. Not any shade. I just genuinely hadn't. And he apparently went on TV. Maybe I'll do a reaction to that. I've never heard that one before, but he went on TV and basically was like, hey, yeah, I'm going a bit fish brain right now. I'm not going to lie. I didn't anticipate this video was going to be 50. I've turned Tank's 25-minute video, which is only like a fucking 10-minute section that he actually talks about this, into an hour-long video. I'm so sorry. If anyone's made it this far, join my Patreon. Sorry. But, I mean,
that Alex Hefner and I talked about? Yeah, David Heretic. He currently has 56.9 thousand subscribers on YouTube. This guy still religiously uploads. His most recent videos are 9 hours ago, 21 hours ago, a day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 3 days ago. This guy uploads a lot. A lot of these bans are very random, so there is probably a chance he's getting copyright claims on a lot of them. But I bet he's disputing them, and some of these reactions he's making money from. But if you go to his Patreon, he's got a ton of different tiers on here. A basic tier for $1 a month, steel tier for $5 a month, bronze tier for $10 a month, silver tier for $100 a month, gold tier for $200 a month. And a lot of these are for paid reactions, like the gold tier, the $200 a month, 3 monthly prioritized requests. Like people are asking him to do that. Well, he has his Patreon information set to public. He makes $2,100 a month.
Okay, that's for a channel of his size, like whatever, 50, 60,000 subscribers with 351 paid members and earning $2,000 a month that's pretty fucking good going. And, you know, people can yap all they want about like how they think tiers are too expensive, yada, yada, yada. But like, Tank even alluded to it in this video. If the guy's pumping out fucking ridiculous amounts of content and you know, doing like 5-6 videos a week or day, whatever the fuck he said, let the man make some money. You know, he's putting in some graft. If he's not going to be able to claim a lot of that money back from ad revenue and he's giving out promo to bands in the process, let the man make some money. I just don't really see the problem. I know Tank's not really saying there's a problem here, but obviously some people in this chat were kind of like, oh, why is he charging this? It's like,
just from Patreon,
because he wants to,
doing like paid reaction requests. So there are smaller YouTubers out there that are making way more money than...
Yeah, which is great. And I think, whoa, I'm getting squeaky. It's time to end the video. But yeah, Tank kind of alludes to it here. Again, he's happy for this person, which is great. But I kind of am at that point. I'm like, what was the point of this video?
Then I am. I'm not even making close to that on Patreon. And that's not to say he's not making money from some of his other...
Yeah, but you don't need to push Patreon as much, Tank, as well. You've showed your figures. You also have a full-time job as well, which, of course, is great. And we're all happy that you are doing that and you have that full-time income source where you don't have to worry about like these things. Not that I have to worry about it either. Like I want to do this as a full-time job. My Patreon is stable enough that I can be like consistently earning that every month. And I don't have to worry too much about the copyright claims, but I just realized I haven't even showed the analytics yet. Fuck! Okay, I'm gonna have to do that in a second.
I don't know if he is or not. My whole point there is that a lot of these YouTubers have said like copyrights are unfair and fuck these labels and blah, 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 blah. And they've...
Well, we've kind of established that they are a bit unfair. They're a bit all over the place. Like no one really knows what's happening a lot of the time. It's not really on the label themselves. It's more the YouTube automated system, which is very unfair because it's like, regardless of whether or not something's fair use, it just gets claimed anyway. Even though like it's literally written on their guidelines about the, like what is allowed in a reaction video. It's like, you must add some value to it. Again, that's obviously subjective, which is another conversation. But yeah, it just feels like there's not really much...
gained that sympathy from the viewers to sign up for things like Patreon, and now they are making a couple $1,000s a month doing this kind of stuff.
Incredible. Who the fuck would complain about that? You know, the community is supporting someone they enjoy. And in the process, they're getting content that wouldn't otherwise be available because maybe they wouldn't be able to monetize it on YouTube because it's a full album reaction or it's been blocked, and Patreon's a good way to put up album stuff that is, you know, blocked and, you know, whatever. And even Tank said it as well. You can get like early access to videos, which is another thing that people can do as well.
Yeah. It's great. Honestly, yeah, $2,100 a month in the grand scheme of things isn't like going to be life-changing, but that pays for a lot of things in your life if you think about that. And then if you...
Yeah, I mean, like, and $2,100 isn't enough to leave your job. So I think $2,100 is fair compensation for the amount of time that this guy probably spends devoting his life to listening to music, you know, getting himself up to date in music. I don't know this channel, so I don't know if he could just be sitting there and yapping. I don't know, which is exactly what I'm doing. But I don't know anything about the guy. I don't know what his background is. But like, I think 2,100 quid, like when I convert that to euros, is like whatever, like 1,600 euro, something like that, 1,500 euro, which is just like, that's not even covering my rent in Ireland. So, you know, if I was earning just that from Patreon, which is great money, again, it's community funded, so it's a fucking blessing, but it's not like enough to leave your job. So he's doing a 9-to-5 job, assuming, or a part-time job, and then using the other money to, like, you know, maybe go back into his channel, or he's just doing that full time and living like well with, you know, very, very frugally to support himself on 2,100 quid. Because anywhere in the world right now on 2,100 quid, unless he's living in like fucking Bali or some shit, I don't know.
He's also making residual money from YouTube, depending on what he's making. He very well, as a channel with 300,000 less subscribers than mine, could be making more money than me. I'm not complaining because I have a full-time job outside of doing YouTube, like whatever. It's just, that's the reality. Like, I don't mean to be picking on him. It's just, it was a good example. A lot of other YouTubers have very long reactions. I mean, even my average reaction is like 15 minutes long. Well, the longer your video
is, those idiots with the long reactions, eh?
The more ad revenue you're going to get from it. The more watch time you're probably going to get from viewers, and the more ads you can place on it. So a longer video means more ad revenue. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to address this because I do think that viewers have been taken advantage of a little bit by some music-related content creators and reactors, because not everybody's being fully honest about how this stuff is kind of working. But yeah, it's
And I know the absolute neck of me to speed Tank up there as if I'm not the one making this video extremely fucking long. I'm like, oh, Tank, get to it. But his video was like fucking 10 minutes long and I've made it an hour. I apologize. I don't even know if anyone's still watching this, but I have edged you for long enough. And what I'll do is, I haven't really put much thought into this, and I don't know what I can and can't show, but I guess the only thing I would ever try and hide is the actual revenue. So I can kind of just show you everything because the rest is just statistics and you can see how much my channel's failing. So let's just get down to it. Now, I have it on my screen here, okay? I'm going to show you. Again, this is not to spark beef. I just find this an interesting conversation. It's always one of those things that I've enjoyed in the past. I love watching videos where people talk about like ad revenue on YouTube and how much people are actually earning. I've again done a video back in 2023 where I went through how much I've actually earned in the past. So I will pop up in this video or this screen and show you lot. This is what I've earned, and I've got it on the 7-day marker. So this is only what I've earned in the last 7 days, and we'll work our way backwards and I'll show you, okay? Is there anything here? Is there any like fucking addresses or anything like that? I think we're good. Boom. All right. So this is my weekly, my last 7 days. Let me move me down slightly so you can see just kind of the whole picture here. So you can see in the last week, a channel with 144,300 subscribers. You can't see me because I've put myself directly over the first thing I've started talking about, like a smart man. But you can see here, a channel with 144,000 subscribers with 81,000 views in the past week has earned €62. Okay. That's across my entire channel, not specifically talking about outlier videos or anything like that. That's just my entire channel. The 1,100 or so video, actually 1,400 now, I think. What the fuck? That's including short form content as well. So obviously maybe about 1,000 videos in total. But let's call it 1,000 videos. That is, all of those videos are continuously getting views across the board. I've made 62 quid this week, the last 7 days, okay? So you can see what I mean when I have rent that is exceeding what I said earlier about like 1,000, like my rent is fucking ridiculous in Ireland and I'm not even paying crazy rent. You can see in the grand scheme of things after tax as well that this is in a week what we would call in the industry le peanuts. This is why I would probably make more money in a week doing this, going around with these bottles. Okay, so when I say I don't make any money off of ad revenue, I don't mean it literally. I mean, holy fucking shit, I'm getting bummed. And bearing in mind, this is with label connections. That's very important to remember. I have a lot of label connections. A lot of my recent videos, which we can actually just, can I show you this? Yeah, I'm showing you the ad revenue as it is, so we're chilling. Let's go and show you. So you can see a lot of my videos are monetized right now. Like I'm getting a lot of green. Some of the ones that are ineligible and blocked or just turned off are stuff that's on Patreon right now. So that's like full album reactions that like I don't need to monetize because people are already like paying for it through Patreon. But you can see like I've got a pretty good track record over the past while with working with labels. Where I've been able to monetize a lot of my videos. That's been something I've been like really trying to lock down over the past like year or so. Like I mentioned, ever since the Sleep Token gig in 2023, there was a bit of a shift where I started to make more efforts to speak to labels and shit. Obviously there is some videos, like for example, I can actually show you a great example of one that didn't get copyrighted, and I can just show you this visually without having to mention any names, and you'll know straight away who it is because it's literally on the screen. But you'll see here that my most viewed video this year is 154,000 views, which is, of course, Sleep Tokens Even in Arcadia, which got copyright claimed, of course. It's ineligible. It has made 0 squidlies, monetization, ineligible. Can I see analytics just to show? Revenue. Yeah, estimated revenue, 0 squids, because on the first day it got like copyright claimed and partially blocked. Now, it would be dishonest for me to say that I didn't make any money from this video directly because I made a good chunk of change from my Patreon, which is why you have to be a bit clever and you have to ask your audience that support you and want to see your content to support you on other platforms, because otherwise I would have just lost 154,000 views on a channel that is already not earning a lot of money. As you can see, that would have been a couple of £100 at least, maybe even more. That could have easily been over 1,000 quid. The video's like an hour long, 45 minutes long. That could have been over €1,000, which is obviously compared to 54 quid a week or 70 quid a week or 64 quid a week. That 1,000 quid is crazy off of one video. Imagine I had other videos that done well that week as well. You're talking like 1,500 quid all of a sudden. So that is why, oh, well, I've given away the monthly anyway. My last 28 days is 410 quid, all right? That's euro, so that's, we're talking like what, $600, $700 or some shit, which I'll have you know is good for my channel, especially over the last while, okay? So in the past 28 days, that's a month, give or take, 410 quid. You can see it's up 80 quid. So the month prior to that, I earned what? Like, I'm so shit at maths. It's actually embarrassing. 330 euro, which again is a small fraction of what I earn or what I need to pay my rent alone in Ireland. Again, like, I'm very privileged to be in the position I'm in, but I'm just speaking statistically here. This is just as facts, you know? This is how much I earned. You can see pretty much every time I upload a video, it's not like I'm consistently earning this. Like on days where I'm not uploading, it's like €6 a day, which has improved a lot because it used to be like 12 cents until I started to like look after my monetization. But when I upload a video, 45 quid, 31 quid, 30, these are obviously smaller uploads, 16, which is still great, you know? This is still, like, to me, I'm delighted because the video I made in 2023, you'll see that it was way less, you know? But let's just jump to the point. I've made this video too long. Let's go lifetime, okay? You know what? Let's give more context because this year's been decent. This last 365 days has been the best I'd say I've had in a long time, if not ever. In the last year, I've made 3,375 euros from YouTube ad revenue alone, okay? God damn, 16k subscribers in the year. Nice. My best was 170 euro on this day. I don't know what that was. Possibly falling in a verse or something like that. Usually get decent money off of that. But again, that's my entire channel working across the board, not like one specific video, which is why I'm like mind blown by Tank's figures. Cause like that's in my entire year. And Tank is showing off of like, you know, a couple of videos are doing like 3 grand, you know, pretty insane. Again, not stabs at Tank at all. This is fucking, I'm mind blown by his figures. It's insane to see. But let's just jump to the plot. And this is the whole reason I'm making this video is because all time, and you can see, like, since the start of the year, I used to make, like, I was actually demonetized for a big portion of the year, but that's a whole different story. But, you know, my daily average was kind of like €1. Like, some days it'd jump up, like €2, €1. Again, I'd be fucking better off collecting bottles. €1, €5, €2, €1. Like, these are all separate days, by the way. Like, that's what you're seeing over 365 days. So, obviously, you can see, once I started to make an effort, like I said, 2023, but obviously it didn't go very well for me. I was still earning peanuts, but obviously it started to pick up a little bit over the last while. You can see the spikes have become a lot more consistent and I guess the base figure has gone up, which is great for me, man. You know, this is amazing. Like, I'm not, like, this is unbelievable. And this is what you want to see is like someone who's creating content is to kind of keep going up. And obviously over time, I'd like to see more of these jumps and shit, but all time, let's just do it. Remember, started in 2017. This is why I see what Tank is saying and I understand where he's coming from because he has a perspective of someone who is earning good money. And I am someone who does this as a full-time job. And when I say that I'm not earning anything, obviously the stats don't lie. I am earning money. It's not like I'm lying. You know, that was never the intention. If I ever did say in the past, like, I'm not earning any money, I meant in the grand scheme of things, over the course of 8 years, I have earned €10,537, which, let's do one for you Americans, euro to dollar calculator. What did I say? What was it? 10,537, 10,537, which is $12,100. And I started my channel when I was 20. I'm 28 now. So think about yourself 8 years ago. And imagine if you stuck with anything that was earning you 12.5 grand. Obviously, I don't have to imagine that scenario exactly because I've been blessed to have very good support on Patreon. But that is exactly why Patreon is such a big help to channels like myself and other people that I guess are doing the same thing. You can see mine is like taking a significant jump up, but there was years of like €1 a day, €0, €1 a day. Like, this is 2021 back to, and this is the pandemic when it was like, you know, everyone's inside and you're still only earning like 4 quid a day. Crazy shit. So yeah, again, I hope that clears some stuff up from the perspective of someone who is maybe in the category of like full-time job being YouTube and maybe has said it in the past where I've been like, hey, I'm you know, the best way to support me is on Patreon because we don't earn anything from YouTube ad revenue. The main point is that I think we have to be careful maybe with the way in which it's phrased, because obviously Tank has kind of framed a lot of people into, or put a lot of people into one big bracket, which I think is slightly unfair. But again, much respect to Tank. This is not a shot at him. This is more of a, I guess, an educational video to kind of show the other side of things, which I hope I can kind of speak for people that maybe are in a similar situation to me. There is money to be made, and long may it last. Long may this be a thing where my ad revenue continues to go like this, whilst also I can like maintain a good Patreon growth. But yeah, that's it, lads. I have no idea if this comes across as like fucking out of touch or wrong. My eyes are like bleeding. I didn't expect to be sitting there for so long. I'd already done loads of filming earlier, and now I'm like just an hour deep in another video, and I'm like, whoa. But yeah, this probably be quite raw. So yeah, if I've like doxed myself, just please leave me alone. Tank, please don't copyright claim me. I beg you. Don't send people after me. I'm not going to stand a chance. Your audience is huge. I know you won't. I'm joking here. But yeah, guys, let me know if that was informative. If you watched the whole thing, maybe comment. I don't know. Whatever. I don't fucking know. Do I do a Patreon plug at the end? No, I'm joking. All right, that's enough. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys. Again, this is for Tank specifically. This is not a punch. Well, that looks bad. That's a knuckle touch. That's for Tank. That's my guy. This is not even about him. He's just the guy who's kind of brought this topic up, and I'm using his examples to kind of maybe counteract it and also just open a line of conversation. Let me know what you think, guys. Am I waffling? I am waffling a little bit. I mean, I've made this video an hour and 10 minutes long. This is bad. I don't think I can even upload this. This is horrific. So long. But yeah, I'm actually done now. Okay, right. See you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Be nice to me, please. Please. I hope this comes across as well. I hope it doesn't come across as rude or like, you know. All right. Bye. Cheers.